Roy Piscadlo.
Is it?
Marquez.
How do you say your last name?
Piscadlo.
Piscadlo.
Yes,
Okay.
Piscadlo.
Okay.
His is easy to say.
Yeah, mine's easy. Yeah.
And it's Colonel Marquez,
Colonel
right?
retired.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
Colonel retired.
That's the important one. I'm a nobody.
Well, you're the head of a company right now.
Piscadlo.
Yes.
Okay.
Derek Brown got elected as a state party chairman.
Yep.
I didn't even go. So sick of these guys.
Okay.
Here we go.
For you. From my cold, dead hands.
It's time for Gun Radio Utah. No apologies. A show dedicated to preserving and protecting your constitutional right to bear arms for your security and sport. Here's your host, well-known gun rights advocate and chairman of the Utah Shooting Sports Council, Clark Aposian.
Hey, welcome to Gun Radio Utah, where there's no apologies. Bill,
Yeah.
did you don't apologize.
I am not apologizing today.
We're in the studio today, live. I wasn't sure. I thought I was going to be in Vegas. I was actually halfway down
really?
to Vegas. Yeah.
And you were going to tell me what, this morning?
Yeah, I was going to tell you from the road, but then I
Awesome.
ended up turning around. I'll tell you, that's an interesting story. So, anyway, you can find us actually, obviously, on KNRS 105.9 FM, 570 AM, and podcast. Go to KNRS.
/ media.
Is it / or backslash?
/ media.
All right. And would you go to
And
the
you
dark web
can-
if you went backslash or something? Anyway,
That's another website.
And then media.
Yeah.
And you can find
and
our
then
podcast.
iHeartMedia.
And then
Yeah.
also you can find us right now live on Facebook. Go to Gun Radio Utah Facebook page and YouTube until they shut us
YouTube.
down. YouTube. You can go to Gun Radio Utah YouTube and just look for the live one streaming live in studio. So in studio, Casey has asked for a day off. So I
Okay.
didn't necessarily grant her the day off. She just took it. So
She
there
took
you
it.
go. So got that going. That's the way things roll. So, so Bill Pedersen and I are in studio. We're both members of the Utah Shooting Sports Council. And we've got a heck of a show for you today. Wow. Jam-packed, powerful show. In studio with us today from the Mountain Dell Range Association. I say association, it's not necessarily, but Mountain Dell Range is Ray Piscadlo. No, I got it right. Piscadlo. See, I got that right. And Colonel Marquez, who are two of a group of people that are working to protect the PMAA range, or the range,
The Hendrickson
also known
range,
as
yeah.
the Hendrickson range, and we're going to hear more from them in second segment. But we're going to hear from them in second segment. Now, let me tell you what else we've got on the in the queue today. Oh, Florida. And I don't know exactly where in Florida this is. Somewhere maybe near Tampa Bay. I don't know, because it was from the Tampa Bay Tribune. But we're going to talk about what happened when a Pasco County Sheriff's Office, apparently something in Florida just causes their guns to just go off. Just go off. They
Well, that's
just-
the
they're
Gulf.
standing
That's the
there.
Gulf side. Tampa's on the Gulf side. So
Okay.
I would highly relate it to something probably from a Gulf from the Gulf side.
Okay. Is it the Gulf Stream?
Yeah, it could be the
Something
Gulf
like that.
Stream. Yeah.
All right, and my latest visit to a local gun store, and I saw another new gun that I must have. So
Oh, really?
yeah, I got to try this out. And so we've talked about a little bit about it before, but I'll give you a little hint.
Okay.
You know your Mossberg Shockwave with
Right.
that interesting little grip. Some call it a bird's head grip, but it's not really a bird's head grip. And
Well, if
it's
it looks
not
like a bird, yeah, I'd give
Yeah.
it that. But
it's not
doesn't.
it's not a shotgun. It's not a pistol. It's just a gun. And well, the Shockwave. You're looking
right.
at me like
Well, I'm looking at you like, how can you call it not a pistol, not a shotgun?
it's just a gun because it doesn't conform to either.
Okay.
Because a shotgun is
Right.
a long gun,
Is a long
which
gun.
requires you to put it, or the ability to put it on your
And
shoulder.
because of the bird's head grip on it, it's not a pistol.
And because of the overall length. So there is a window. There is a window in which now, what if you were able to take that same concept of the grip and the overall length and so on and so forth and adapt it to another type of gun? And that is what they're doing. How are we doing in there, Shauna, by the way? Is that okay? Am I coming through okay? All right, I didn't know if I was coming through or not. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about that because that was kind of cool, and I want to do
You
that.
want one of those?
I want to do that. And, we got to obviously, MSNBC.
Mm-hmm.
MSNBC may have inadvertently, accidentally stumbled upon the truth.
Yeah, I
To their-
kind
to their
of saw
viewers.
something like that on the news this past week.
MSNBC, and sometimes the truth just kind of comes out when they're least expecting it out of their own mouths. And so MSNBC, we got to hand it to you. Let's hope that you are basically
Well, they're not backpedaling on it.
yeah.
So we'll talk about this.
There was one guy that says they were mugged by reality. We're definitely going to be talking about that. Also, I have had for the last several months now, I got a few months,
Mark.
the distinction of being the only person in the United States, perhaps the world, I'm going to go ahead and say the
I
world.
would say the world.
I'm going to go ahead and say the world, with a legally owned bump stock. And I make no apologies for it. And we've made no apologies for me owning a bump stock, legally owning a bump stock. Well, that, I can still own it, but there's been a modification to that. I got a call from my attorney last week, and he said, Clark, there's been a development in your case. The 10th Circuit Court says you can still own your bump stock, but it must be impounded. They're not going to destroy it. They're not allowed to destroy it, but you have to hand it over to them.
So it's going to be leaning against a whole bunch of other illegal weapons, or what?
Well, it's not it. Well,
I mean, what's this?
I don't know.
Socially, what does this do to your bump stock? I mean, you're putting it into a class of other guns that are just
it feels
misfits.
pretty bad.
It's kind of like the misfit toys of North Pole.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. So, I think I'm going to put a bunch of stickers on it.
Can we have a going away party?
I can, but you could be present for it, but you can't shoot it.
Yeah, I'd just like to say goodbye and give my best wishes.
So I'm going to turn it in somewhere before 5 o'clock on Monday to the ATF offices.
I gotta
or
be
maybe
with you
the
when you do
FBI
it.
offices. I haven't decided which one.
Let's do the FBI. I got some friends out there. I'd
Yeah.
like to say hi to them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I wonder
So-
how you get past security with a bump stock.
Hey, I'm Clark Aposhin. I can get.
Well,
I
yeah.
got past security at the University of Utah.
Yes. Are we going to talk about that? I think we should.
Yeah, I got past.
You're wearing a
security. I
really
went to
great
the-
shirt today. Oh, turn
What
around
does
so.
it say? What does it say?
Well,
What's it-
turn around so our YouTube watchers can see this. The University of Utah, students packing heat, the safest campus in the nation.
yeah.
and
Despite the University of Utah, it is still the safest. But despite the actions by many hand-wringing
But
bedwetters.
if you would have watched the news this past week, the safest state in Utah, or the safest college in Utah,
Yeah.
Utah State University.
Oh, I did see that. They had
Number
the least,
2 in the
least
nation.
number of things. So,
Number 2 in the nation.
anyways, yes, I did attend graduation there 2 nights ago.
Congrats. Oh, you
And
weren't graduating.
I wasn't
Oh,
graduating.
Okay.
Yeah, but Casey's brother,
Okay.
Spud, I call him Spuddy.
Right.
Spud. That's not his real name, but he graduated, and the whole fam, of which now I'm a part of for the last 11 months, we all went up to the U, and of course I'm carrying. I got in with my gun.
Of course I'm carrying. Of course
I got in with my gun, but they wouldn't let me keep my water bottle, my half-drank water bottle. Yeah. So, there you go. Anyway, but I did go back and ask the person who was checking bags and the person in charge there of all safety and security for the people. I says, what about firearms? And she says, well, you can't have a firearm in here. You can't. There's no guns allowed in here. I says, well, I'm wearing one. I mean, I can't very well dump that out. And she looked at me with this look like, anyway, like I had horns growing out of my head. And I says, you know what? I'm just going to run over here and fill up my water bottle through the drinking fountain. No one's ever going to know I have my gun. And I kind of winked at her and I walked away. And then I went over to a University of Utah cop that I know, and we chatted for a little bit. But yeah, anyway, we just kind of
That would
laughed.
have been funny to see.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about me having to, it's like getting separated at the border. Me having to separate myself from my bump stock.
Those dang feds.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think. I've got, you pick up a bunch of stickers at SHOT Show.
Right.
All those. I'm trying to think of what stickers to put on my bump stock. Because it's got a lot of surface area on that one.
Yeah, it does.
So.
And you could make you could probably actually come up with a pretty good slogan for your T-shirt. Something next to your University of Utah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
Separated.
Anyways, we're going to talk,
separated
we'll talk
by
a
the
little bit
feds.
about that. But I got to tell you, in the next, so we've got about another, I don't know, minute or so. But when we come back, we're going to have the folks from Mountain Dell Range that have been working for, what, a year and a half now, probably, something like that. Been working for about a year and a half on and trying to stop the ultimate demise of one of the most beautiful, safe, effective, great places to shoot in Salt Lake County. And so, and if you didn't know it or not, it's called the Hendrickson Range, currently, as of right now, operated by PMAA, the Police Mutual Aid Association. Closed. Is that right? Oh, closed. Yeah. Well, okay. So it's been closed as of like a week ago or 5 days ago, something like that. But, and we're going to discuss that. We're going to have, in fact, we'll take your calls if you have questions on that. So, yeah, it's, if you've ever been up there, you know how beautiful an area it is.
Well, we're also going to talk about a meeting we just had this past week on Monday.
Yeah, we're going to talk. We're going to discuss
as well.
We're going to discuss the heck out of this. So, and what do we got there, Sean? Is that right? Okay. So, I'm going to give Sean a break. We're going to go ahead and go to break right now. When we come back, Donald Trump is going to be in real quick, I think, and then we're going to
Stay
talk
tuned.
about PMA.
Awesome. Okay.
Time for lunch.
If it doesn't, then the plan B is I'm going to swing my mic over.
Well, my
This
mic.
works. I think this works.
I think.
Okay,
I think
just
we're-
in case.
Mine, yeah, mine
Just
came
in
back.
case.
Yeah,
So if you see us, Mike swinging towards you.
Doing great, Bill. Maybe just back up an inch or two.
What?
Okay.
I didn't hear.
I'm too hot.
You're too hot? Mm-hmm. Just you?
Yeah, just
Okay.
bring him down.
Okay, I don't know which one is.
Test 1,
Number
2,
two.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Which one?
Keep going. Just keep
1,
going.
2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You want it where the needle's just hitting
I know,
zero.
no, I know. But I
Okay.
need you to talk.
So it's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Maybe sit there.
10. I'm eating my Chinese pork
Want me
noodles.
to try?
And I am talking. I feel like I'm the elf on the movie, singing a song, eating my pork noodles with syrup.
Okay, I think we're okay now.
Okay.
All right, and then you say,
Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
talk just like you're gonna be talking. Just that
We want
same,
to keep
and
the
just keep
range
going.
open and, keep it open for the public.
Run it
and
responsibly.
Run it responsibly, lead remediation, recovery,
All right.
test.
Okay,
Is that
so I'm
working?
getting it, but I'm not sure if it's coming through off of his or not. Anyway.
We'll find out. If I have to, I'll swing my mic over to you.
All right, so anyway, so Sean, if it does look hot, if it looks hot when it's coming here, 'cause I don't know if this is the outgoing hot or what, but, levels, but if it looks real bad, then
Oh, man.
I'll adjust it while they're talking.
Roy's primary, you know that, right?
What's that?
Roy's primary, he's been doing
And
Okay,
I
this.
yeah.
cannot seem to get Donald Trump. I apologize. So
Okay.
So if you run out of time,
Can one of you imitate Donald Trump?
Get Bill Barr.
Boy, that guy's good looking like a rock star right now.
Yeah, he's.
I listened to myself on
Oh.
the radio yesterday and I said, this ain't that good because I don't sound like I'm from Utah.
I think we got about
No,
30
you
seconds.
sound like
Did-
you
did
built
you guys-
boot camp.
Did you guys hear that? That I
A drill
cannot get
sergeant.
Donald Trump.
I couldn't hear.
That's awesome.
I did not, I cannot get
Okay,
Donald
all right,
Trump.
okay.
That's
I
fine.
apologize.
Bill, I'm gonna have you bring him in.
Okay.
You got a slight West Virginia type accent, I guess.
Roy Piscadlo.
I'm going to just say Roy and Colonel. And the Colonel. Oh, man.
NRS. Protecting and preserving your constitutional right to bear arms. It's Gun Radio Utah on Talk Radio 1059 KNRS. Here's your host, Clark Kaposian.
And welcome back to Gun Radio Utah. Bill Pedersen, across from me is Clark Potion, our director, chairman of the Utah Shooting Sports Council. So glad that you're listening with us today on this gorgeous, gorgeous Get Out and Shoot Saturday. Awesome day. And a big shout out to my friends down at Gallinson's downtown. I went down and picked up some new ammo. Had to grab some 17. And can you believe this, Clark? They had 22 ammo. Now, this is, the plinking stuff, Box of 500, $14.95.
The hell you say.
Yeah, I'm saying there was a box, and they got a few boxes of that. So if you get a chance, go down and say hi to those guys. Those guys are awesome, and we've got some great gun stores here in Utah. But we're coming in. We had a meeting this past week. We've got Roy and the Colonel in with us with the
Mountain Dell Range.
Mountain Dell Range. And we had a meeting this past week with the Public Utilities, Salt Lake City Public Utilities Department in regards to the range. And I will just throw out this first part. I was kind of flabbergasted as much as I was flabbergasted with a representative on an open radio show earlier this year about a red flag bill. This group, the Salt Lake Public Utilities, I don't think knew or knows anything or has a clue what's going on up Parley's Canyon that they're fully directly responsible for.
All right, I want a quick background on what range we're talking about. It's called the Hendrickson Range, sometimes called PMAA.
Yep.
It is located up Parley's Canyon at the East Canyon exit.
Yep.
And it takes 15 minutes from the valley to get up there.
If that.
If that. And it's been operating for, 50 years? 50 years. Beautiful range. They've got up to 800-yard shooting, including shotgun, including rifle, small bore, pistol,
archery,
tactical stuff for law enforcement, archery. And anyway, okay, go for it.
And now it's closed.
Yeah,
and now it's closed.
The gate is actually
the gate
physically
is
closed
and
now.
Locked.
That's it.
And this is something that these guys have been working on. And Roy, why don't you give us an update on what has actually transpired this last week with this range?
Yes, on Monday we presented a full business plan to Laura Briefer at the Public Utility Department and Rusty Vetter, who's their legal representative. And it included lead remediation, insurance, everything. And it was very clear from the very beginning of the meeting that they had no intention to keep the range open. The mayor had promised to keep the range open at least for a year longer so as to maintain the status quo while they study what to do with the range. But it was very clear that Laura Briefer had no desire to keep the range open. She said, in this day and age, there's no reason to have a range up there.
That was one of the most telltale signs that we are up against an anti-gun organization, an anti-gun group now in Salt Lake City.
Well, she connected Malibu, the fires in Malibu, to having a range up Parley's Canyon.
Yeah, amazing.
So now what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be engaging with city council members. There's several city council members who have expressed a desire and willingness to work with us. We're going to also give your show for your website the business plan that we showed the city, so your listeners can go and download that. In there is going to be the names and phone numbers and email addresses of the people that are responsible for this, because that was part of the presentation materials. So it's Laura Briefer and Rusty Vetter. And then we're hoping that we can meet with some of the mayoral candidates to get their view on what they want to do.
Well, exactly. And I want to point out that so folks that don't know, it's located kind of in the county, in Salt Lake County, yet it is an island of Salt Lake City property. It is contained within the watershed. It is, so to speak, the overseeing of it by the city is done by the Public Utilities Commission, the Salt Lake City Public Utilities Commission, who, to my understanding, has maybe visited it once, something like that. They then, 50 years ago, and correct me if I'm wrong, right, that about 50 years ago they granted a lease, a charter, if you will, to a group called the PMAA, in which, of other things they do, like, benefits and stuff like this, they also operate this range called the Police Mutual Aid Association, primarily for Salt Lake City law enforcement to train at, but then also other law enforcement agencies with permission train there, as well as private citizens and groups and 4-H and hunter education, everything trains there. So, but now the problem with PMAA, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, for 50 years. They have not necessarily been good stewards of the land, nor have they been required to show that they have been operating under industry standards for, say, like lead reclamation every 3 years, which is an industry standard, or anything, nor has Salt Lake City Corporation required them or done an update or checkup on them to see if they have.
Correct. And the management of the range, I agree with you, has been totally incompetent, and there's been a lot of neglect, and there's been, as far as we know, no lead remediation for 50 years. Should have been done every 3 to 5 years. And that's the big hypocritical smokescreen that the decision makers in the city are throwing up right now. Fire insurance, which we showed them 2 proposals, lead remediation, which we showed them 2 proposals to do that and get it back to a square one and be good stewards of the land. But it's a smokescreen. All along it's been an anti-gun thing. Let's close the range down, and that's what they've done at this point. So I think going forward we'll talk to the different mayoral candidates and see if anybody's interested in having a world-class range that we well maintained, well operated, and improved. And the money, the revenue has not been put back into the range. It's run down, and it has been for a long time.
Curtin, let me ask you a question. Yeah. Let's say that Salt Lake City were to not grant your proposal to operate the range, and your proposal is extremely comprehensive as I've looked at it. Everything from remediation to insurance to operating expenses to you name it. It's completely comprehensive and is in accordance with industry standards on ranges. Now, let's say they were to just shut it down completely. What would they have to do?
Well, at some point, they still got to deal with the lead remediation. Okay. Now, they think the SLPD they think is going to run the range. I seriously doubt that.
What
I don't think they want
to. What percentage of the time has SLPD been using the range?
5%.
5% of the time
Correct.
They've been using the range.
Yes.
And so at best, Salt Lake City would hold it open for a 5% usage.
Yes. And this group does not care who runs the range. If they've got somebody else that wants to go in there and do a bang-up job and do it correctly, fine. That's good with us. We just want to keep it open. It's important to Utah to have this range.
Well, this range was built and originally with taxpayer money. Is that correct?
I'm not sure about that.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, the land was obviously purchased with taxpayer money.
Yeah.
It was done with private donations. The PMA built some things up there, as well as the city has also been paying in for the use by the police officers.
Okay.
SLPD.
All right. But I mean, we have a place that, like I said, you can shoot out to 800 yards.
Correct.
Safely?
The only long-distance range left in the county.
So you can safely do that. They've obviously done, they keep the weeds down for fire danger and that type of thing at all these different impact points. And now, if that range isn't an entity anymore, can people still find some place in that canyon to shoot legally?
Sure. Close by, there's public lands.
Right.
And they're going to go up there and shoot. And that's what the city has not recognized are the second and third order effects here when they close the range. And it's closed right now. And every day that goes past that you don't have a range master living in that house and maintaining that property, it becomes more of a fire danger. And every shooter that doesn't go to that range is going out on public lands. And that's fine right now. There's no fire danger. But later on, it's going to be a problem.
So your group has come up with has bids out there for lead removal to bring it up to snuff, up to the appropriate operating level. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then how about insurance?
We've got two proposals from 2 different underwriters. One of them is actually the NRA, very helpful. They were actually the most helpful. And, full liability insurance, up to $2 million of coverage, which is, the industry norm.
And then that would allow, so your proposal would allow the range then to continue. It would allow for appropriate improvements or, corrections, maintenance to be done
That's right.
on it. Would it allow for the general public to continue using
Absolutely.
this safe range?
We want to keep it open for the general public as well as the other law enforcement agencies. Salt Lake PD has always had 100% use of the range anytime they wanted. So whenever they wanted, they could just come up there and use it, and everybody else would have to get off. And that's the way we want to keep it. Okay, we want to make it actually better for them and everybody else, and let the SLPD and the other law enforcement agencies train up there, as well as the public.
All right, what can we do? What is that? Because it's been on KSL, it's been on Channel 2, it's been in the in various medias, and I think bless their hearts, some of the media, they get a little tiny piece of it and run with it, but they don't get the whole thing.
They don't get the whole story.
What can people do?
Well, what I think we're going to be doing is when we'll put up the plan up on your website, and people can go to your website and download that. I suggest giving people a call that are in the back of that presentation, Laura Briefer and Rusty Vetter, and the mayor and Patrick Leary.
And we'll have that contact information.
All that
there
contact
coming out.
information will be in that proposal.
Bill, I think we'll get that out as an alert as well, and
Absolutely,
directing to
yeah.
the website, and we should have that up in just a couple
And we
days.
will have scheduled a meeting at the city council, during normal Tuesdays, and we'll let your listeners know when that'll be, and we invite them to come and talk to the city council members. And the city council so far has been very helpful, but they don't have direct control over this.
Well, we need to find out, and I do like your thoughts about talking to the new mayoral candidates.
That's right.
And so I look forward to seeing what they have to say about this. Anyways, when we come back, we've got lots more to talk about on Gun Radio Utah. Stay tuned.
Awesome. That was
That
great.
was very good.
Thank you.
That was excellent. We need to,
Give me
let's
your email
coordinate,
address.
let's coordinate everything we need to put on the website and that. And
Yeah, and
put their information in the back last page. I didn't put it there. But
I know.
I'll put it there.
Right.
also, if there's something that we want to do, if you want
Go
to,
ahead and write your email address here.
Oh, yeah.
Look, that place.
if you want to
back
create
see. I mean,
the language for our alerts that go out to our members,
Okay.
be more than glad to take a look at it.
Okay.
And then we make sure we cover all the bases, because the
You want
gentleman.
bullet points for the
Oh, yeah.
alerts? That's what you want? Okay.
Well, they'll go out to thousands of people here
All right.
in the area, so,
so you think that went pretty well?
absolutely.
A little heated. Yeah.
The only question I have is what has the SPD done? So
They're quiet.
how come they're quiet?
Because they think, they go up there and trash the place.
Right.
If the city thinks they're gonna run it and manage it and
do I
keep
keep
it,
this,
they're
or is that
freaking
gone?
crazy.
Oh, I know,
It
yeah.
ain't happening.
Ain't gonna happen.
They're the ones that trash it.
Yeah,
leave
the
it on
cost of
grass
that would be
everywhere.
outrageous.
Yeah.
Bill, put your stuff down here.
Yeah,
Well, we didn't even have time to go into all that, but yeah, I mean, what are they gonna do? Take a policeman off
I'll just
duty and
give you
put him
my
up there to
personal
run the
email.
range, you know?
my
But
work
live in
one's the
house.
best way to get me on.
We appreciate you guys having us on.
Hey, we
We're
will
not-
do this
we're
and
not-
anything
we're not
we
letting-
can do.
This is important.
We're not letting this go.
No.
You've been doing this a long time too.
I'm
You've been
pissed.
doing it a lot
One
longer.
day when I left, I was
Yeah,
so pissed.
I was just like,
Went
you
to
gotta be
Vern
kidding me.
Reed says, just got back from the Ogden UGCA gun
Oh.
show. Biggest show I've seen up there in a while.
Oh, the Ogden
Awesome.
one. Yeah. That's
yourself on
that's an old school gun
Put you in there and
show.
I'll send you a
If you haven't been up
That'd be
there.
great.
I heard it sold out, so.
Oh, the vendors and that?
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Yeah, it's an old school gun show. I like it.
Put your phone.
They don't
number
have so many beanie babies there.
Put your phone number.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, it's actually a really decent gun show.
Oh, man, I'm telling you. You want us to hang around in case there's any questions?
Absolutely, Kim. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're okay with that, Bruce?
Yeah.
Okay. There could be a.
It's only another 25 minutes at the most that we'll be here.
Especially if Mr. Trump's gonna show up.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna talk about Venezuela.
Yeah, I want to hear the Venezuelan
I
thing.
used to work there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to work in
I used to
Venezuela.
live in Tampa. When you mentioned Derby.
Back in 1 minute.
Okay, I gotta go get a
Couldn't hear
drink.
what?
1 minute.
1 minute, oh, yeah. Let's see, actually 48 seconds.
Close enough.
Good job. I think I'm a little more fired up than, You're a little more,
Hey, we got away without anybody yelling.
I'm military, I'm used to being in
Hey,
charge. If
Roy,
it's stupid,
we got away without any of us saying sons of bitches.
I'm surprised.
I had to think.
But you know what?
Yeah,
The tagline is, no apologies.
yeah.
Did we didn't say sons of bitches at all, did we?
Buttons of stitches. No, we hadn't.
No, it's clear, the
Bumpuses.
decision makers, they're anti-gun.
Sons of bumpuses. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Might as well have been wearing a mom's
Here we go.
demand
We're coming on.
Utah with Clark Aposhin on Talk Radio 105.9 KNRS. Listen, and you'll know.
Yeah, you'll know.
You'll know.
Am I knowing?
I know.
Why don't I hear myself very well? Anyway, sometimes I hear myself. Sometimes even when I'm not talking, I hear myself. Welcome back to Gun Radio Utah. I'm your host, Clark Aposhin. Sitting across from me, Bill Pedersen. In the studio today is, as always lately, is our videographer. Is that the correct term? Videographer. That's what I'm calling you anyway. I don't care what
YouTube
the correct term
production
is.
manager, director, grip.
Videographer.
I don't know what the grip does.
He's our and best boy.
Oh, best boy. Yeah, that's the other one. Best boy.
So, and you can find us obviously on the radio if you're listening to it, but you can go to YouTube, go to Gun Radio Utah on YouTube, or Facebook. Facebook, for as long as we're still allowed to be on Facebook, go to Gun Radio Utah. Watch live streams of that. All right, so I got to tell you, so I told you before that my attorney says, all right, Clark, you gotta turn this in. You got to turn it in, but they aren't going to destroy it. I said, okay, good.
Now, turning what in?
Turning my bump stock in.
Okay, for our listeners
My
that
bump
might not
stock.
know.
Thank you. You're keeping me on track here. The bump stock that I have affixed to an AKM 47. Technically, that's the correct way to say it. A semi-automatic AK is an AKM, modern design AK. Anyway.
Okay.
All right. So I started getting calls. I got a call from Channel 2
I bet you
and
got
5
calls.
and the Tribune and in fact NPR. It was on NPR on there. I think the show was called Hand Wringing with your host so and so. And
So they got you in between the Bill Barr
yeah,
testimony.
exactly. So and to every one of them, I started telling. And for instance, the Tribune reporter. She started talking to me, well, why should people have a bump stock? What good is a bump stock? So on and so forth. I says, no. I said, first off, we're going to do the interview in person. We're not going to do this over the phone. I said, this it loses so many of my nuances, my hand gestures and stuff like that when you have to do it over the phone. So I met him down at the Tribune office, and I gave him a little background. And I says, you know what? This is not about bump stocks. You've got to get off that. I says, if you want my interview about what my thoughts are, I said, first off, it's not about bump stocks. Bump stocks are a placeholder. Bump stocks are a vehicle to which to get to the destination. And the destination is stop usurping our constitutional rights. There's a certain, we talk a lot about people getting out of their lane, certain professions not being in the right lane. Well, we have very distinct, very deliberately placed in our Constitution roles of government, and especially the three divisions, the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. And you start getting, when one group starts doing what the other group is supposed to be doing, it's anarchy. It's a free-for-all. So what we have here is we have the president via the executive, directing one of his executive offices, ATF, to ban these things. I mean, in short, he used a little bit different words, but essentially find a way to ban these things. And that's what they did. They banned bump stocks. Now, again, I don't care what your thoughts are, and bump stocks are the greatest thing ever. They'll save our nation, or they're the worst thing ever. That they will they're a scourge upon mankind and should never have been invented. That doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, just think of it as a gun owner staring at someone that's driving a Prius down the road. Okay,
Yeah,
it's the same thing, but just flip the roles.
Yeah. So so yes, I'm suing the Trump administration. I'm suing the FBI. I'm suing the ATF. In fact, I think William Barr is named specifically in our lawsuit. Anyway, so it's about government overreach. So it's more about, obviously, like I said, it's more about the destination than that. And, perhaps some of the listeners, even to Gun Radio Utah, are okay with this type of overreach or unconstitutional actions by an executive because they didn't have a bump stock, they're not affected by it, or they don't even like these stupid things.
And those are the same people that would say, well, let's just ban the AR-15. I don't have one, but no one else should have one either.
Right.
It's the same mentality, and it's kind of, they're just so far off their rocker when they start talking this way to understand what they're giving up their rights for.
Now, primarily the people that are against it are the same people that are against, firearms of different kinds, black firearms, whatever. Mm-hmm. But one day there's going to be somebody in office, maybe even in this administration, or maybe the next, or maybe down the road, that they're going to use what President Trump did as a template, as a precedent. And they're going to find something that these people hold dear.
The Prius.
The Prius. And so then, you know what? The left, they can thank us. Rather than having to sit on the sidelines, wringing their hands and wetting themselves and lamenting that they wish this had been done or adjudicated previously, they can thank us for doing it now and addressing it. So not that this hasn't been uncomfortable and expensive and so on and so forth, but yeah, so we went there. And that's my bump stock story for this week. Monday before 5 p.m.
Before 5 p.m.
And I don't know that I'm going to. I've got some other things I got to do. I got to do a voiceover for a suicide prevention thing. And no, I'm not going to leave it in my car when I'm going to go into the studio with this. It'll be in a case though, but yeah, I'm not going to take a chance.
Oh, now that's interesting.
No, it didn't. It's not going to get lost in a boating accident.
Well, no. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking, how do you walk in with an
That's a good question.
Weapon?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You going to just throw it on the ground, see if it goes off?
You know what I could do maybe is I could. Well, I don't want to leave it in the car though. I don't know. You know what? That'll be an interesting little dance.
Yeah.
All right, Shauna, what are we doing on time? We've got. Oh, thank you very much. This sound says 5. So I'm going to talk about MSNBC. All right, MSNBC. Have you heard about what is happening in Venezuela? Okay.
Yeah, it's been all over the news here lately.
The dictator Maduro. All right. So MSNBC is blah, blah, talking about the latest thing. And this was just last week. So MSNBC news anchor Andrea Mitchell speaking to the correspondent, Kerry Saunders. And let me just read this to what he said and tell me if they didn't stumble upon the reason for the Second Amendment. Okay. Quoting, "This is taking longer than they thought," said Mitchell, of the U.S. efforts to unseat Venezuelan dictator Maduro. "Despite the sanctions, despite the pressure, and with the help of Russia and other outside forces, Maduro is hanging on. Not only hanging on," agreed Saunders, "but he appears to still control the military." Now, this is what Saunders says. "You have to understand that in Venezuela, gun ownership is not something that is open to everybody. So if the military have the guns, they have the power. And as long as Nicolas Maduro controls the military, he controls the country and the people."
And you have to understand when he disarmed the country.
Yeah.
That was just in 2012.
Yeah. So did MSNBC accidentally just make
made our case like we've always said.
Yeah.
So.
And like you said, they haven't backed off that. And so you're looking at something happening live in a laboratory of sorts, if you will, a perfect example. All right. So, in fact, you know what? Shauna, how would you feel about opening the phone lines? You want to push those buttons and go through the tedious affair of opening the phone lines? 888-570-8010. 888-570-8010. Do you have a thought on, in fact, you can talk about Hendrickson Range, the PMAA range, which I hesitate to call it the PMAA range anymore because it's just not there. Thank you very much. If you want to call in, you get in on this segment or maybe the next segment, 888-570-8010.
I thought Channel 2 did a really good spot with Blake.
Oh, yeah?
On the PMAA range this past week. I mean, they're right there at the lock gate. I mean, like, we can't even get up there. Yeah, and
I can get past that gate, but anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, we just walk over from the back side of the mountain. which is, I noticed, so I'm looking on my Onyx maps. So that little piece of partial that they've got is 911 acres. Now the whole area, they even across the street, literally across the I-15 or I-80, I mean, almost 1,100 acres over there. I mean, they own a big chunk of land there.
Well, it's watershed too, so
yeah,
it can't
it's
be built
watershed,
on.
but it's also bordered by national forest. There's some private land toward the I-80 area, but on the backside, yeah, from Lambs Canyon, it's all national forest.
I'm getting a flash alert that we might have a caller. I don't know. We do have a caller. All right. And it is okay, I want to hear from George. George, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, George. George, what's your
Hey,
thoughts?
bump stocks. How many different manufacturers of bump stocks were there?
I'm going to take a guess. 3,
Oh, there's
maybe
more than
4.
that.
Was there more?
Yeah,
How many were there?
You have Wrangler, you have Levi's, you have all those guys. Anyone that had a belt loop, because that's where it all came
We're
from.
talking
Oh,
about.
yeah, there you go.
So,
All right.
So
Yeah, so
if
I don't
I
know. I don't know, but there's
If I own
none.
two
There's
of them,
none
how much
currently
trouble am I in? Are those records being subpoenaed?
on the sales. You mean?
no, because
Yeah.
there's no.
Well, there's no serial numbers. There's
record.
no, and they would sell to distributors. So you're right. I mean, there's no way. I
There's
don't.
no way in
in
the
fact,
world.
even on my bump stock, you have to look very carefully. There's no numbers or anything. There is a tiny little emblem, if you will, the Slide Fire emblem, and that's it. There's not even a model number on there.
I'm hanging on to my 2 that I own from 2 different manufacturers until this storm blows over, or until I actually need them.
I hope you don't need them, but yeah, I totally understand your point. I mean, that's everyone's got to make that decision one way or the other. But I'll tell you this: the government's not going to pay you to destroy those bump stocks at all. So now
There are some states that are.
some states are doing
Some
a buyback.
I think Washington was doing a buyback.
Oh.
Maybe. Yeah.
Interesting. You know, it'd be nice
Well,
if they would do
cost
that.
like $300 each.
Glock or X Springfield or some of these polymer companies ought to just buy the stocks back and just mill it down and make new
Make new Glocks.
new Glocks out of them.
But you know, Bill, you said something that was right. That if you want to talk about bump stocks specifically, people have been bump firing their firearms with nothing more than
I saw a guy doing
certain
it.
way you hold your
Yeah.
trigger and stock with your belt loop.
I literally saw a guy do it with a Glock pistol and a 2x4 with a wood peg in it, and he just over the peg forward and just held the pistol there. That Glock
Imagine
went
pretty
off
soon,
faster than all
if
get
that
out.
keeps up, you're going to have to see serial numbers on all those 2x4s.
Exactly.
All right, when we come back, we're
Thanks,
going to
guys.
talk about
Appreciate you.
we're going
Thank
to talk
you.
about Florida. Hey, thanks, George. So George had some guts to come on there. I think the ATF is probably going to be
You know what?
researching all the people named George right now. That
Yeah. You know what? I don't own one. So I'll say this out loud, but I don't think, well, no one knows of anyone turning them in.
except for Clark Aposhen has to.
Well,
so
but
Yeah.
yours is not getting destroyed.
yeah,
I'm saying
that's right.
where they've turned it in or destroyed their bump stock. I
Yeah.
don't know of any. So
All right. When we come back, we'll take your calls at 888-570-8010. Stay.
wow, gotta be careful on those calls.
What's that?
You gotta be careful on those calls.
Well, those
Well, George
binary,
was an alias, it said right
Yeah,
there, too.
I figured as much.
binary triggers, those are about the same
Oh, hey,
thing.
that's the
I-
next
That's the
thing.
next one.
I have an echo
Well, in
trigger.
fact, in our bill,
I like that.
Oh yeah.
That's
in
way
the,
better than the bump stock.
in the
heck
bill,
Yeah.
in the bill that Patrice
they'll
Aaron
be
ran
next.
this year,
That'll be the next item.
she didn't name them
Yeah.
specifically,
If I
but
did my math correctly, when we come back, you'll have 5-ish, almost 6 minutes. Watch my fingers for the countdown.
Okay, cool.
5-ish minutes.
Thanks.
So yeah, Patrice Aaron's bill would have ban binaries and all that kind of stuff. So, in fact, so I'm going to go ahead now. Binary triggers from Franklin and from what's the
Echo.
other Fostech or
Fostech.
Fostech?
'Cause
Yeah,
that's what I have.
they're actually a better than Franklin from what I've heard.
I got two of them.
Do you? Oh, you like the Fostech, the EO?
love
The,
it.
yeah. So I'm gonna put them on. I've got now. I'm gonna.
Good
like I said,
friend
I've got-
of mine has
I've
them.
got-
He loves
but
them.
I've got machine guns, but I just want to try them out on some others. So
It's really nice because you just point, you go boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. And,
yeah,
and-
you would like you're a 3-gun guy.
Well, yeah, but you can't use them in 3 guns.
Why not? Are you specifically told you can't?
Yeah, you can't use binaries
Really?
in it. Yeah.
Well, just don't tell them.
Figure it out.
You
How
can
come
hear
it's
it.
in pairs?
Yeah, you can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can
I fired a what was it in?
That the only concern I have with a binary trigger is memory control and what do I do with a regular gun.
You switch it.
Well, they have. I mean,
Right, right. No, I totally get
Yeah, you
that
have to get
part of
used to it.
But you have to get used to it. But if all of a sudden you're pistoling or you got another rifle or something like that, and you go to a binary, and then you realize,
You can actually
Well,
feel
I
it.
wanna
You
get-
feel it go click, and you can actually feel it set.
Yeah.
And then,
oh really? Okay.
Now,
I've never
I
shot
also
one.
I
I'd
want
like
to try
do
one.
that.
They don't make them yet, but for a 1022 would be
Oh, yeah,
pretty
that'd
cool
be
on
awesome.
1022.
Remember in the old 1022s and when they had the crank?
Yeah, yeah.
we shot it yesterday.
The accelerator.
Yeah,
or
the accelerator
the Gatling
cranks.
gun one.
Colt Fortson with a suppressor, with a carbon fiber
Oh, anyway,
suppressor.
just
Oh,
aside,
nice.
George said that wasn't his real name because
Yeah.
he's a felon.
Oh no, I know.
Oh, he's
He's
a felon?
I'm
Yeah,
like, oh,
he
well,
is
just
now.
give me a name and what
Yeah,
city
he
you're
is
coming
now.
from. It's
Yeah,
like,
I'm not going to be talking about that.
Yeah.
We can't. I may say there's no apologies, but
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
gotta
going
be so
there.
careful.
Have you thought about taking the press and media with you to film your turning in your bump stop?
Oh, they'll
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah, and they go.
Yeah,
with
well,
it?
that's why I'm not going to say exactly where I'm going to turn it in at.
Well, call me.
I
I'd
just
like.
assume.
I'm available.
But do you want to?
Hell
do you want
yeah.
to come and
Let's
video
go to
it?
the feds.
Okay. All right.
One thing you mentioned, I don't mind you giving our numbers for interviews, but I'm asking your opinion. These shots on the radio without a full interview that's no
I know.
good. It's no good.
No, it's terrible.
They get a piece, and,
Yeah.
and they don't get the whole story.
That's why you have to. There's a certain way to do interviews. I've learned. You do a like with the media.
Yeah.
Is we got about 40 seconds. Is you talk in sound bites, regardless of the question they ask you. You talk in sound bites. It irritates them, but you get your point across, and then when they
Doesn't
go back
give
to
them much
edit,
to
they
work
only
with.
have certain. They only have
They
certain
have to
things
work
to
with
go
sound
from,
bites, yeah.
and that's how I've had to do it.
Do that when I was selling the Army as a.
All right, so
recruiting commander.
Bill, do you have anything?
No.
What?
Hey, are you working tomorrow?
Bill, we're at 10 seconds.
I know. Hey, are you working tomorrow? I might need your help.
Hey, I'm gonna have you go.
That's my cousin.
I'm gonna ask you
He's
to
at
go.
the FBI.
I'm gonna have
Special
you
agent.
go to that list of guns, maybe.
Oh,
Maybe.
Maybe.
Radio 1059 KNRS. Listen, and you'll know.
All right. Welcome back to Gun Radio Utah. You know, a lot of folks that aren't gun folks get a lot of their information from the media. And they find out a lot about how guns work from the media. And they find out about the deficiencies or the abilities of firearms from the media, which is why when they hear the term semi-automatic assault weapon, they're thinking full automatic, full-blown gun. They're also thinking that that gun that you're carrying, that you're permitted to carry or allowed to carry via the Constitution or whatever, is one moment, one brush against a door jamb away from going off. One drop, one, if you nudge up against somebody too close waiting in line to go see the Avenger movie, it's going off. And, you know, so I've got to say that there's a story from the TampaBay.com. It's their web version of their paper. All right. It says Pasco deputy's gun goes off in Waitman Middle School cafeteria, strikes wall. All right. A school resource officer's holstered firearm went off Tuesday while he was on duty at Waitman Middle School, according to Pasco County Sheriff's Office. Apparently, this is how it happened. The deputy was leaning against a cafeteria wall when his agency-issued weapon, still in its holster, fired around into the wall behind him. Now, I don't know about you, but
that's a good holster.
I
That's a
hate it when that happens. I really hate it when that happens. So embarrassing. All right. Apparently, no one was injured in the incident, and the sheriff's office did not release the name of the deputy or release any other details about the incident. The agency also did not say what time the incident occurred or how many children were present. So, your thoughts, Bill?
I still want to see what that holster looks like. I mean,
okay. First off, It didn't. I'm going to go out.
okay,
I'm going to
okay.
go out on not a very big limb here. It didn't happen the way it's being
Exactly.
reported.
That's what I was going to say.
It didn't happen the way it is being reported. So,
Well, but, okay, so how many, and this is a good example. How many reporters have come up to you or I or anyone else on the board of directors with Utah Shooting Sports Council, said, yeah, we want to do this thing on guns and blah, blah, blah. Something happened. We got to get your take on it, blah, blah, blah. We're at a gun range. Hey, do you want to see how a gun shoots? Oh, yeah. Okay, this is how I shoot. You want to shoot it? No.
yeah,
Why? Well, I've never shot a gun before. Well, hold it. You're reporting the story, but you've never shot a gun before.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. We still need to do our concealed carry class for media.
We just haven't done it this year. We have
Yeah.
to set it up for this
We need
year.
to do that.
So, and you're right, but I'll tell you from reading this article, I'm going to think, well, it's crazy for anyone to be carrying a gun, let alone in a school, because even if law enforcement can't control these guns that basically, apparently, maybe even have a timer on them that they just go off every once in a while, then how is the average Joe Blow going to be carrying a gun safely inside a school?
Well, and for our listeners, I carry all the time. I carry at home, and I've cut the corner short once, and I've hit the door jamb. That
Yeah.
hurts like hell. You do that once, you won't be doing it again.
Yeah, I
Your
have
hips
on
in
the door
pain.
jams around my
Because-
house
yeah,
and
but
around my office.
they're
You can
steel,
see
aren't they?
little notches where the rear sight has whacked the door jam.
Exactly. So, but the gun's never gone off.
Yeah.
Gun's never gone off.
Hey, let me tell you, talking about guns, I got to tell you about this gun that I alluded to. So basically,
Yeah.
we've got the Mossberg Shockwave. Think the Mossberg Shockwave, which is a 12 gauge in all other parts. It's a shotgun, except it's not a shotgun because it doesn't have a stock and its overall length. So anyways, it fits into a very narrow window that the ATF says it's just a gun. It's not a long gun. It's not a pistol. It's not a shotgun. It does fire 12 gauge ammunition, though. It has an interesting grip on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they've done, there's a company called Fight Light, and light is L-I-T-E, one word. They have the SCR AR-15 pistol lower. It's a polymer grip with a bolt carrier, and you just put your AR upper. You fit it into this. It has and you're thinking, well, what about the buffer tube? It has a proprietary buffer tube built into that little grip. It's kind of weird because I was looking at it and I'm like, well, you can poke this thing in, but boy, it doesn't seem like. Anyway, it works apparently. So I want to get one for a 450 Bushmaster.
Wow. Yeah.
And people are saying, well, why? It's because
Well,
I
why
can.
not?
It's
Exactly.
the
Why
same
not?
reason
Don't ask
because
why.
and then you can have whatever. I think it requires maybe a 10-inch barrel or longer, to fit that overall length. But then that's about it. So I happen to find that over at Impact Guns in Salt Lake.
That could be kind of fun.
And they're on sale right now. They're actually on sale.
For the four-wheeler while you're up grouse
That
hunting.
would be pretty cool.
Fun.
And they're on sale right now at Impact Guns. But
Okay.
if you type in Fight Light SCR AR-15 pistol lower, or just Fight Light, you can see what they've got. But pretty cool. And I don't know, maybe we're getting a bunch of these things that we're going to have to eventually turn back in. So next week, Bill, we'll be back here with lots more. And watch the website, watch the UtahShootingSportsCouncil.com website for updates on the Mountain Dell Range, Hendrickson Range, and how you can make a difference.
I
Thank you.
sense a rally coming.
Yeah, a rally. I went for rallies. Rallies are good. It's the only time I get to use my big truck, other than trying to find a parking space in a cul-de-sac.
See ya. You did say that.